People have their doubts season after season after season, and it will be this player, Nicholas Jackson. But I'm gonna come on this video and say what I said on no, start again. I'm gonna come on here and say what I think. Now, you guys get in the comments straight away. Do you agree or disagree? Because I'm gonna make it clear. I do rate Nicholas Jackson, and so should you. The doubts need to stop about him because the only thing that is masking his game right now is potentially the finishing, because everything else, he has it. When he's on that pitch, Chelsea are better. And we saw it. West Ham, he put the ball in the back of the net. Two good finishes, one under the keeper's legs, the other outside of the boot, bottom corner. That is Nicholas Jackson when he's putting the ball in the back of the net. But even when he's not scoring, he is making Chelsea a better team. And I've always said this, and I've always defended him. And it's similar to Darwin Núñez, even though it's slightly different. Darwin Núñez, whether he comes good at Liverpool, we don't know. But I do think Darwin Núñez can get goals. He's that type of striker, and I can imagine at Atletico Madrid. But that's another conversation. We're talking about Nicholas Jackson. Like and subscribe, because Chelsea as a team, Nicholas Jackson, they can be a problem. And look, Maresca has come in already, and he's got players on side. He's using the squad. He's making substitutions. He's making tactical tweaks. He's doing this all in the first 4 or 5 games. And I feel like it's only going to go one way, and that is up. It's going to get better for Maresca. It's going to get better for Chelsea. And you look at their squad depth, and it is scary. We saw a team that after 60 minutes, they are bringing on Nkunku, Yao Felix, Pedro Neto, and more, because they can do that. They're building a squad that they want to be as high as they can in the Premier League. They want to win the Conference League. They want to win the Carabao Cup, and they also want to win the FA Cup. And that's what Maresca is going to try and do. He wants to win a trophy in his first season. Now, we already know about the Italian connection with Chelsea. Look, Gianluca Vialli, Gianfranco Zola. These players that have got a big connection to Chelsea, and a lot of Chelsea fans are Italian as well. Now you've got a manager that's come in from Leicester City. He's been under Pep, and he's Italian as well. He's already got the flavour to be the Chelsea manager. Now it's how can he get the best out of these players? One thing I've noticed that he is doing already, Maresca, is he's installing confidence into these players. Nicholas Jackson being one. I love the way Nicholas Jackson works hard. The goals will come, but we are a good team when he is on the pitch. Jadon Sancho, he's already come out after his difficult spell under Eric Ten Hag at Manchester United and said, look, I've seen Jadon for a long time on the football pitch, through his good times, through his bad times, but maybe he's just a player that needs an arm around the shoulder. He needs love. That's what he said. He needs affection. He needs care. Every player needs to be managed differently. Every player can take criticism differently. Every player needs a sit-down conversation or takes things on board differently, whether it's positive or whether it's negative or whether it's constructive, in the middle. Maresca seems to be learning his players' personalities, which is now transforming onto the pitch, where they're looking like a serious outfit, and now they're winning games. And that is what you want when you're at Chelsea Football Club, when you've been used to winning trophies as fans. And now you're seeing what this manager is coming to try and do. Now, look, a 3-0 win away at West Ham is no joke. West Ham have not started the season great, let's be real. Jared Bowen, Kudus, Paqueta, those guys have been a bit off it. However, but you still got to go there and win. It's still a 12:30 kickoff. Things can get sticky, things can get edgy. But Chelsea went there and done a job on them. And Nicholas Jackson had a big part to play in that. And also another player that I'm going to get to in the video. But Nicholas Jackson, he's got 4 goals in the Premier League already this season. He's got 2 assists, and he's only going to get more numbers. He's only going to get fitter. He's only going to get more minutes. Now, for me, I feel like Chelsea, even last season, when he was on the pitch, apart from putting the ball in the back of the net, which I know people will say that's what a striker's job is. Haaland doesn't get involved enough, but he puts the ball in the back of the net, and look at the results. I get that, but Haaland is a freak of nature. When you're playing in the Premier League right now, and you look at the footballing world in general, the striker market is not great. The only striker out there that I could say from another league I'll be really licking my lips at is Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon. He's scoring, he's got great link-up plays, a physical specimen, and he is going to be in the Premier League, I believe, next season. But when you look at the strikers out there, It's not like the eras I grew up in. There's always going to be a question mark about certain strikers. You know, Rasmus Højlund, Joshua Zirkzee, for example, Alexander Isaac, ability's there, but the injury side of things you've always questioned. You know, Kai Havertz is now playing, you know, at Arsenal as the striker. You got Victor Boniface at Bayer Leverkusen. Mbappe is not really warming up yet at Real Madrid, but it's going to happen slowly. You got Lewandowski's at the end of his career now. Bayern Munich, Harry Kane, okay, he's a proven guy, and he's the guy at the moment that you would say he's probably one of the best strikers in the world. He's done it for years. But really, the ilk of strikers is not phenomenal. And there's going to be question marks. There's going to be things about their abilities that annoy people or frustrate you. And for Chelsea fans, it's maybe Nicholas Jackson's finishing. But look at him as an overall player. The package, running the channels, relentless work rate, very good ball carrier, by the way. He can get the ball from the halfway line and take it to the edge of the box. He can do that. He can drive with it. It helps get the players up the pitch. It helps bring players like Madueke, the Cole Palmers into play, because what he's doing is he's absorbing opposition players to come and try and tackle him, and it frees up others. Now, look, if Jackson can carry on scoring goals, he's going to be a really good player for Chelsea because he's only 22 years of age. And yes, he's got a long contract, and Chelsea might go back in for a striker next season. But he's happy to be in part of that squad. He's got a good mentality that he wants to carry on fighting. And he does cause a bit of chaos. And I'm sorry, Chelsea fans, I think you have to start respecting him more or showing him a bit more love. You know, I've watched loads of streams. Big up Don. Don, who watches this channel, has his own channel. He's backed Nicholas Jackson, and I've seen him say, you know, I think he's better than Havertz and stuff like that. I'm not going to come in and say I think he's better than Havertz, but does he have certain qualities that are better than Havertz? 100% yes. Does Havertz maybe have a potential few qualities that are better than Jackson? Maybe so, yes. You know, you've got Solanke out there at Tottenham, the main 65 million striker. You can't say that he's clearly better than Jackson. They all have something about them that make each other have better traits. But Jackson, I feel like, is disrespected more. A lot of people were saying, sell him. He's not good enough, this and that. And I feel like he wants to prove people wrong. And that performance against West Ham and other games so far this season have shown that, you know, he is on the right track. He's definitely not going this way. He is going that way. And I've also got to salute Maresca for it because it's a combination. A player can be low on confidence, can be criticized, maybe might not think it's the right fit for me being at this football club. But then it's on for a manager to get the best out of you, believe in you. And he started Jackson. He's kept him in the 11. He spoke about him well in press conferences. And now what Jackson is doing is slowly repaying that faith. And look, we're 5 games in. But I think it's time to say, right, put the Jackson criticism aside and let him just do his thing. Sometimes I feel like with the internet, with Twitter, with the way football is now, we've all got a voice and we're right to have a voice. Look, we pay our tickets to go to games or we pay our subscription to watch it on TV, whatever it is. We're football fans. We have passion and we can criticize a player. But I think there's a difference between criticizing a player, praising a player, or saying a player's done, sell him. He's not good enough. He's been in the Premier League for 1 season. And we all know throughout the years, we've seen many players come to the Premier League and not hit it off in their first season. It's happened. De Bruyne came to Chelsea, didn't quite hit it off. And look at the player he turned out to be. Now, look, I know we're talking about De Bruyne compared to Jackson, but still, just put it out there. You know, Mohamed Salah went to Chelsea as a young player, didn't work out. Comes back years later and he's a phenomenal player. Scores numbers after numbers after numbers. Jackson's so young. Give these players a chance to bed into the Premier League and reveal themselves. You know, he's a striker. Most strikers don't peak until 27, 28, 29. So I've got to say, Nicholas Jackson, this is a good start to the season for you. And I think you're going to silence more doubters than have doubters this season. If things change, I'll come in here and say, look, it was a purple patch and he is what he is. But I'm going to give him time with his age. I see the hard work. I see his ball carrying. I see the qualities he does bring to Chelsea. It's just sometimes, you know, putting the ball in the back of the net. He might go 3-1-1, and I get it. He does miss chances sometimes. But then, on the weekend, slotting it into the bottom corner, having the belief to get past his man and then slotting it under the keeper's legs. That's what Nicholas Jackson can do. But what you've got to do is accept him for what he is. He's a good player with good fundamentals. Sometimes he might miss chances, but also some games he might score 2 or 3. And that is contributing to now Chelsea becoming a real team because you take it from Jackson and you go to Moises Caicedo. Moises Caicedo on the weekend was brilliant. Interceptions, passing through the lines. being about on the pitch, showing that leadership, because obviously he's a deputy captain after Enzo Fernandez. Moises Caicedo signed for big, big money. And look, where he played his debut at West Ham for Chelsea last season, where he came on, I think he gave away a penalty, got a red card. The transformation to that performance on the pitch on the weekend, black and white. That was a real central midfielder's performance. And Moises Caicedo, for me, he could be the player under Enzo Maresca that becomes so important in that heart of that team because he can do a bit of everything. He is quite underrated on the ball. That pass through the lines and him breaking them passes and then intercepting, he was doing everything in there. He was doing everything. Like, I couldn't even pick a moment where he done something wrong. And, Casado is not going to be like that every game. But when you look at a player and you just look at their natural abilities, it's strong. And then you got Cole Palmer in the central mark, in the 10. We all know what Cole Palmer is. I don't have to say much. And then you've got Wesley Fofana that's come back from 2 ACL injuries and is looking like every game he's getting better and better and better. You've got Colwell, left centre back, left footed. You've got Fofana, right centre back, right footed. But they've got pace, they've got athleticism, they've got aggression, and they're building a real partnership. So when you look at it, yeah, the keeper can be questioned at times, but Sanchez was even brilliant on the weekend. If you look at it on the outside, in terms of the outfield players, you've got Colwell and Fofana building a partnership, great ages, staying fit at the moment. You've got Caicedo in the middle of the park that is now starting to become himself. He's starting to become the player that Chelsea signed, and it might have taken him a bit of time to adjust and the managerial changes and whatnot. But that performance against West Ham was like, that is Moises Caicedo. That is the player that people know you can be. You've got Cole Palmer in the 10, and then you've got Jackson as leading the line at the moment. That's a solid spine that Chelsea are going with, that you're like, right, every starting 11 you see in the Premier League, Maresca knows what he's doing. He knows what he's building his team around. And if you keep that spine there, we all know when you win leagues, not saying they're going to win the league, but when you build a good team, when you want to compete for cups and get deeper into the season, you need to have that spine there. And then you just fill up the Christmas tree with the decorations, which could be the Maduekes, the Pedro Neto, the Yao Felixes, the Enzo Fernandezes. That's what you do. You put the Christmas tree there. That's the staple. Then you put your decorations in. And Chelsea and Maresca seem to be building that at the moment. But it's time to now start respecting Nicolas Jackson, because that performance on the weekend was really good. Can he kick on and find that consistency? That's the way I'm going to leave this video. Nicolas Jackson, can you now find that consistency? Because you're going to get chances at Chelsea because the way they play and the creative players they've got. It's whether you can take them. It's whether you can carry on with that confidence. Stay fit because you're young, you're dynamic, you're athletic, and you're showing that you can be a handful in this Premier League. And I just think people need to calm down on him. Stop criticizing, not saying you need to sell him. Give him a chance. Let him flourish. He's young because there is a player in there. And I just believe that you take Jackson out of Chelsea, Chelsea aren't as good. You put Jackson in the starting 11 and Chelsea are more effective. And whether that means they draw games or win games or lose games, because that can happen, I think Chelsea are a better team with Nicolas Jackson in it. But guys, start to recognize what Chelsea are building, because when you're bringing off, Palmers and Jacksons, and you're bringing on Nkunku's, Yao Felix, Netos, and so forth, that is some serious, serious depth. Depth that a lot of teams in the Premier League do not have. But guys, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Get your comments in. Am I going overboard on Jackson and telling you not to start rating him and calm down? Or are you guys thinking, no, this guy is not good enough. It's one game. It's football. Not everyone can agree with each other. Like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side.